The Japanese watercolor that we know as Gansai, or traditional Asian watercolors that have exploded into the Western market. While Western watercolors tend to have a stronger focus on transparency like Daniel Smith, Gansai is meant to be more opaque, especially when painted in thicker layers, making them simpler to use and a more direct medium for sketching quickly. Designed with the idea of using larger brushes in mind, Gansai pans are normally in a larger square, rectangular, or circular pan known as teppeisu. So, hey friends. This is my collection of Gansai paints up to this point. This large collection is a combination of Kuretake, Boku-undo, and Acacia Japanese Gansai colors. So, at this point, you are probably asking yourself, what is the difference between Gansai and regular watercolors? Well, let me share with you just a few key differences that you might want to consider when deciding if Gansai paints are something you want to try. First up, let's talk binder. While Western watercolors are normally bound with gum arabic, Gansai uses a combo that might include glue, starch, gum arabic, beeswax, sugar, or glycerin. The glue is made from animal skin. The pigments are then mixed with binder and dried down into pans. The large pans are called Gansai. Second up, opacity. Unlike Western watercolors, Gansai paints retain their vibrancy when watered down, in addition to its binder giving it a shiny finish when dry. Gansai are more opaque than watercolors we may be used to using on Western paper. The opacity helps them to appear on Japanese-style paper with little bleeding. Next, lifting. Gansai binder is weaker than most other watercolors. Therefore, it lifts much easier than other watercolors we use on Western-style papers. Now, this is the opposite of what it does on Japanese washi paper. Next, mixing. Gansai were not made to be mixed like watercolor we may be used to. This is part of the reason that many Gansai sets do not include a mixing palette in the box. With that said, I have never had one single problem mixing any of my Gansai paints. They do tend to be more opaque and made from convenience multi-pigment colors. Rounding this list up is quality. Many artists happen to downplay the quality of Gansai because they don't act in the same way that Western watercolors do. I do think this is a bit unfair, however. You see, they are not the same type of paints and can't be expected to behave the same way. Just like with any other medium, Gansai paints have different grades as well. However, with just a little effort and imagination, you can create wonders with this paint and watch them shine. So here, friends, I am going to show you the results of swatching this palette out. Now, this is an upcycled sketchbook I repurposed a while back, and it's Grumbacher 140-pound cold press paper. The first set of swatches are from the Acacia Gansai set. The next set here are the Kuretake Art Nouveau colors, which are a part of the overall Kuretake Gansai Tenbei set. The next few are the Kuretake Graphite colors, and then the Kuretake Granulating colors. We have the Boku-undo Isumi ink colors, and finally the original 18 color set of Kuretake Gansai Tenbei paints that were in my possession. I did pull out a few pans from my mega set to make room on my painting table and to narrow it down to 6 colors to paint from. I have 2 travel brushes I decided to use just for kicks. And lastly, I'm going to be creating today on a piece of 140-pound cold press acid-free 100% cotton paper by Lightwish. I believe it's somewhere around 5x7, 8x5, something of that nature. Now, regardless of the name brands, please use what you have. Use what you love if you decided to paint along today. Now, let me show you Gansai at work. For this demo, I am working on a poinsettia that I have already transferred to my watercolor paper. More than likely, this will be scanned and turned into a card for my Christmas card collection this year. Now, I am starting with a color just called red. It's a beautifully saturated color that is nice watered down and at full strength. My aim is to show you ways you can quickly get detail into your composition and finish with a super recognizable piece, what one may dare to call realistic-ish. And we are shooting to finish this in 30 minutes or less. Now, the main trick I want to hone in on is using a cut-up gift card or credit debit card to create your veining for your flower and leaves. So you will notice that I am painting wet into wet. First painting my area with my base color and then dropping my shadow color directly into the wet wash. Afterwards, I am taking my cut up card and creating the center vein and all of the veins that spring from it. This helps to quickly add natural looking veins to your composition, all while lending to an overall finished look appearing quicker than normal. This tip allows you to pull together a composition requiring texture really fast. The card causes somewhat of an abrasion to the paper, allowing the color to sink down into the paper, appearing darker in those areas than the areas directly surrounding it, adding shadow, texture, and detail in a couple of strokes of the hand. Now the branch area is pretty straightforward. I am simply alternating between green and brown on my palette until I achieve a mixture that I am happy with. Since the leaves in this area are small, they are easy to finish up. For right now though, I'm simply going to paint them with the base color and sap green. I'm also going to hint the center with some yellow. Now at this point, I am moving on to the green leaves. Now from my understanding, they are all leaves, I believe, on a poinsettia. I may be wrong. Now, as to why some turn red and some stay green, I would have to do more research to really be sure. I am employing the same techniques on the green leaves that I did on the red ones, making really quick work of them using the same wet into wet technique, and then following it up with the detailing, use the cut up card scraper. Now, for my second tip to help get you towards a more recognizable composition quicker, I'm going to tell you about extreme contrast. Now, friends, what I am about to say may not work for everyone, and this is not a scientific proven method. However, I have found that while trying to develop a quicker way to paint and discovering my own painting style, that extreme contrast will help the eye trigger tricking the mind into seeing the overall picture quicker than if you were to build a composition the traditional way, which is from light to dark. Having my lightest lights in against my darkest darks right away normally help me see what little tweaks I can make to finish up a more noticeable picture much quicker. Now again, this is based on my experience and painting style and may not work for all painting styles. But why not give it a try, right? The only thing that can possibly happen is that you may learn something and grow. So with a liner brush, I am taking a super dark red and green and painting over those veins I created with that cut up card. Again, the color is seeping down into those abrasions, creating a super interesting texture on my composition. Now, I'm going to do a little lifting. At times, you will find that you may have lost too much of the lightness or brightness to your composition. Lifting is a great way to bring back those lights and quickly add shape and body to whatever you may be painting. Now, in this case, the red paint I used is super staining, so it did not allow me to lift back as much paint as I wanted to. However, I was able to bring back enough of the lightest to add shape to my leaves and highlights to my overall composition. Finally, I'm going to wrap this up with highlights, friends, and you bet your paintbrushes and sponges I'm using a product that has the same shape pans. This is the Ting Aurora Metallic Watercolors, and although they are not Gansai paints, the pan shapes make them close enough to use. So I'm just going to go through the composition, picking out the places I feel the light would be landing, and any place I want to make any of my own stylized pizzazz. And that, my friends, is where we landed with the exploration into a paint known as Gansai. If you enjoyed this thrifty, quick style painting, do check out this video and remember to just keep creating.